love meeting and admiring women who carry this air of silent confidence, a settled and subtle welcoming energy that they give off. When you're around them, you can literally feel it. It's not a feeling of overpowering, commanding presence, and yet it is all at the same time. Not through their talk or body language, it's an invisible force of presence that satiates a room, every room they enter. The silent confidence that speaks from the heart. To me, it's of a woman that has paid her dues, done the hours, and stayed the course, building the only true lifelong relationship that she will ever have with herself. It's of a woman that hasn't bought her way to confidence, hasn't built her physique to air her confidence, doesn't earn the money to afford the confidence. Because confidence is a heart language. Silent confidence is a wholehearted language. It's a feeling that is rooted in self-trust, self-safety, self-agency, self-forgiveness, and self-appreciation. It's tending to your heart even when it feels closed off. It's forgiving yourself even when the story is that you don't deserve it. It's building and rebuilding the relationship with your inner child, with that little girl, for as long as it takes. As many times as it takes for her to trust you and feel safe again. Silent confidence seeps through a woman's skin. It isn't worn on a woman's skin. It's earned by a woman's skin. It's the energy that precedes her as she walks in a room before she's even met the doorway. It's the gaze of her eyes that speak the unwritten language of her heart, and yet feel as though she has just exclaimed her heart to you. It's her presence that speaks silently in a crowded room. She doesn't attract your attention, she commands it. She doesn't ask for your trust, she captures it. She doesn't require your safety, she honours it. Silent confidence is a heart language of the women who have weathered their storms, collected their scars, and walked through fire. Except now she parts the floods created by that storm, while honey drips from her healed wounds and douses out the fire that once scalded her feet. The self-mastery she has earned, not bought. Self-confidence comes through earning your tiger stripes and then bearing them with convicted love and pride for the version of you that endured them. It's a glow that airs through the heart, a gaze that penetrates you with presence, and a feeling of being stripped bare of every chain keeping you stuck. It's full admiration and acceptance of who you are. It's not knowing all the answers, but trusting that they will find you. Believing wholeheartedly in your God-given right to walk this earth and feel unresounding clarity and conviction in what matters. And that you matter. And the path to silent confidence is through the heart of every restriction that shut you down, every rejection that closed off your heart, and every story you believed that withdrew that love. Silent confidence is earned. It is not bought, and it comes through walking the path and doing the inner work for that confidence to shine through your skin. And it all begins with the medicine of the heart and repairing the only true relationship that will span your lifetime. And that's the relationship you have with yourself.
Silent confidence. I think silent confidence is a word or a phrase that I'm hearing a lot lately, and it got me thinking about what that word or phrase means to me. And it means this unresounding, solid, rooted knowing of who you are. Not what you are, what you can do, your job title, your paycheck, the materialistic things that you own, but it's this feeling. It's this knowing, this certainty in who you are, and not who you are in this concrete, boxed off sense, but it's the feeling of surrendering to who you can be in any moment and knowing that you will meet yourself at that moment in this state of unresounding devotion to who you are. The first step to stepping into a state of silent confidence is inner child work. And this is not an easy path. It is not an easy path, and it is not a path that many people choose to take. But it really is the solid groundwork to living in a state of silent confidence. Because everything we experience in life, everything we take in, everything we absorb, everything we notice, everyone we interact with is through this lens of our past. So when we are little ones, we might experience ruptures in our emotions. Something happens and we feel a big emotion. We feel grief, sadness, shame, shut down. And as little ones, we take a screenshot, a capture of that moment, and we store it in our bodies so that later on in life, if we experience the same emotions, we can protect ourselves. We can regulate ourselves. We can close down our sensory absorption and remain in a state of regulation. Even if that means shutting down, closing off, becoming small, we are doing it not from a state of not wanting to take up our full capacity in the world. It is truly from a state of protection. And when we realize that everything we absorb, everything we experience in life is through that past lens of our inner child, we can begin to understand and have compassion. So inner child work, I believe, is the most important part of really truly standing and exuding and living in this state of silent confidence, whether that is through somatic practices, gaining or getting a somatic coach, or doing your own inner child work, your own inner child healing, recognizing her patterns, your patterns, recognizing when you feel a big emotion, anxiety, nervousness, shame, guilt, all these big emotions, and perhaps you shut them down because that's what you learned in the past, that's what felt safe. But in those moments, learning to recognize your patterns, getting to really know them, and getting to really soothe and nourish and have that opportunity in that moment to have compassion for that little girl that didn't know any better at that age. The second step to exuding and living in a state of silent confidence is recognizing that everything is a duality. And feelings have duality. Everything in life has an equal and an opposite. Up, down, hot, cold, in, out, big, small. And your emotions and feelings are exactly the same. So our capacity to live this joyous, happy, vibrant, exuberant life, and our capacity to hold that state and that energetic state has an equal and an opposite. So it's equal to our capacity to feel our sadness, to experience our guilt, to sit in our shame, to have compassion for that level of anxiety. And this is not an easy path, but those feelings, when you recognize that they are simply trying to protect you. So when you feel this big level anxiety and nervousness and this buzzing energy running through your system, it's because you care so much. It's usually because you care so much. Your body cares so much about you that it lets you know that it's having this big emotional state, and you can regulate yourself, or you can protect yourself, or you can soothe that part of you. Your body is so intelligent. It's letting you know what it needs in that moment. But the beauty of it is also recognizing that those emotions are very, very real, but also they're emotions. And in that moment, instead of shutting them down, closing them off, distracting yourself, trying to get rid of them, which I have done so many times, taking a moment to just sit there, even for a couple of moments, and recognize, oh, I'm feeling a lot of energy right now. I'm feeling really nervous, really anxious. Can I sit with that? Can I breathe into that? Can I just allow that feeling to be there without trying to get rid of it? Because nothing is going to happen in that moment. And if you recognize that you are safe, you are sitting safe, you are in a safe environment, if you are in a safe environment, and recognizing that that feeling will pass, and it is just your body telling you what it needs. And it doesn't need you to ignore it and get rid of the emotion. It's asking you to meet its needs, to breathe, to go outside, to take a moment to recognize that you are actually safe, and that the lens that you are looking through in that moment, you are not in that environment anymore. That little girl in you is not in that experience anymore, and that you can settle and recognize that you are actually safe. And it allows you to meet your own needs in that moment. Third step to living in a state of silent confidence is turning down the outside noise, turning down the absorption of the outside world. What do I mean by that? Turning down the comments, turning down the gossip, turning down the conversations that have this negative life-sucking feeling to them, turning down the social media, turning down the TV, turning down spending time with people that drain your energy. And in doing so, it allows you to cultivate and save your own energy. You only have so much energy to use up in a day. And all of these things I call energy leaks. So if you are giving away and absorbing other people's energy, you are draining your own. So have you ever got to the end of the day and felt so depleted and so drained, and you have mind fog and a fuzzy mind, and you just feel drained, like genuinely drained, because through the day we are leaking our own precious energy. We have all these million tabs open in our day, all these things to do, all these people we need to keep happy. And all along, we are draining our own energy. It's like a bucket of water that you begin with at the beginning of the day with a hole in the bottom. And by the end of the day, that bucket is empty. You have nothing else to give. And in doing so, you are draining your own creativity, draining your own mind, draining your own energy, draining your own capacity to fill yourself up on things that light you up. The person and the event that you don't really want to go to, but you said you would. And you're a good person, so you keep that commitment. The conversation that you don't really have time for right now, or you don't have the capacity to talk about, but you do, and you go against your own boundaries. It's all of these things that you feel you have to do, when really your number one thing is to look after you, and then do these things when you have the capacity. Say to that friend, I would love to speak to you right now, but I don't have the capacity. I will speak to you tomorrow. And just creating those healthy boundaries. And what that does is it puts you first, and it has you protecting your own energy so that you can then give to others from this full cup. Fourth step to exuding this silent confidence is learning to take up space. And by that, I mean not necessarily physical space, but energetic space. Because when I was growing up, I know that I wanted to shrink myself. I would be in situations where I would be looking at my life and that experience through the past lens, like I just said in step one. And my personality would just shrink. I could physically feel myself shrinking. In a crowded room, I might get nervous, and my body language changes, my projection of my voice changes, the way I stand changes. Imagine when you feel nervous or you feel sad, your physicality changes. You concave, your voice becomes smaller, your expression becomes sad, your eyes drop. But learning to physically take up space, knowing that you are worthy of being here. You have a purpose, you have a mission. You are here just as valuable to this world as anyone else, just as worthy as anyone else. And that comes from working on steps 1, 2, and 3, and then getting to step 4 and trusting in who you are. And it doesn't matter what you're doing in a day, how much confidence you're exuding, if you have that silent knowing of who you are. And that comes from doing the inner work, finding out and knowing your dysfunctional patterns, being able to meet your own needs, realizing how you feel in any moment, and recognizing that you can meet that little one's needs. And that allows you then to take up space, to walk with confidence, to have this inner knowing that you are here and you are worthy. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. It doesn't matter what anyone else has a comment on and an opinion on, because that's their business. It's not your business. Your business and your attention is you, and taking care of you as your priority. Because from that place, you can go out into the world and have that silent confidence, that inner knowing, that silent knowing of who you are, and that can change moment to moment, day to day. And also having the capacity to allow that. Maybe you like one thing one day and you don't the next. It doesn't matter, because we are ever evolving, ever changing. And your confidence, your knowing, your trust in yourself grows and changes. So I hope this has inspired you to do the inner work to gain that inner confidence, because it really is an inside job. You can't buy it. There's nothing material that you can buy that will exude that level of confidence. It comes from the heart. It's an unspoken language of your presence, your gaze, how present you are with someone. And you can't buy that. It's earned. I hope this video has helped you in some way. I would love to know your comments. I would love to know what you think of silent confidence and the practices that you do in the day to walk and air in that silent confidence. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I would truly appreciate if you could subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in a video soon.